NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program launched by the Ministry of Education through University Grants Commission and run by the Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center. I welcome you all. Friends, as we have already discussed, there are 8 different themes in this flagship program, and UGC has decided to aware the faculty members and sensitize towards this implementation of this national education policy. And yesterday we have discussed towards the preparation of our brain set towards implementation of this national education policy. Today we are going with one another and very important and crucial theme, that is specifically NSQF and NHEQF, that has been aligned with our curricula, our courses, and specifically skill-oriented courses. And discuss this theme today, we have with us a very great, eminent, and senior personality, Professor Anant Marathe sir. Sir, warm welcome on behalf of the Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, to this flagship program. Friends, Professor Marathe sir is a former principal at HVPM College of Engineering and Technology, that is affiliated to the Sant Garge Baba Amravati University. He has also served as a former principal at the College of Engineering and Technology situated in the Akola, and the Gharda Institute of Technology, that is situated in the Raigad. Sir has more than 45 years of experience in this field as an educational administrator. Sir has more than 36 years of research experience also in the field of appropriate technology and educational administration. There are 50 research reputed research journal on his credit that has been published in the reputed national and international journals. Sir, there are 5 patents on his credit out of 3 patents that has been commercialized, and the technology has been transferred to the commercialization for the various companies. Sir has recipient on the three different awards, out of which the Best Principal Award, Best Paper Publication Award, and Vasundhara Mitra Awards by the Kirloskar Festival. As well as one most important thing, sir is an honorable member of our university on the advisory council of the Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, that has been nominated by His Excellency and the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra and the Honorable Chancellor of the Universities of the state of Maharashtra. Friends, when we have started this implementation of national education policy in the earlier era, when the discussion was going on in the year 21, 22 or 22, 23, while we are university drafting the policies in this regards to implementation of this national education policy, sir has played most crucial role, and sir has helped a lot to the university to design or crafting this kind of policy. So sir has vast knowledge in this era, in this field. So I will not take much more time, sir. We are eagerly waiting to you. I again extend my warm welcome to you and request you to start with your session. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Ankit. Thank you very much. Ankit is my very good friend. I am really overwhelmed whenever he introduces me. So thank you, Ankit. At the outset, let me thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor of our university, our Director of our Madan Mohan Malviya Teachers Training Center, Dr. Atik sir, then Kumar madam, Ankit, and all the team who takes lot of effort in our center to enlighten the faculty members on various aspects, and recently more on NEP. Friends, in our today's interaction or today's session, it is a long duration session, so I fully understand the monologue and only one person talking, others really listening, that too in virtual mode. I understand the difficulty of keeping track on the speaker, but I will try to make it as simple and as interesting and as useful as possible to my efforts. Today's interactive session we will have in 3 or 4 or 5 parts. First part will be NEP, that is, what is that is national in here, what are domains of education, and in general education, defined in this document, of course, the relevant policy portion, and most importantly, the various frameworks under which all of us will be operating. All of us, I mean, whether we are located in any corner of our India, or whether we are autonomous college, or whether we are affiliated college, whether we are state university, private university, everybody will be operating under one framework. So those frameworks we will try to get understood in our today's session. So as I was saying, to begin with, we will start national education policies, little bit background. What is national about it? Friends, this document is a evolved document. Let us first understand it. Its process started in 1987 itself, when our last education policy was just launched. So immediately after launching of last education policy, somewhere in 85, some international level event, what is known as Washington Accord, came into existence in 1987. What was it? It was about standardization and benchmarking of various qualifications of many countries at par. So that is how that Washington Accord came into picture. And it was mainly, to begin with, was for technical education. It was about standardizing engineering or technical degree of our country with worldwide. So some framework came. And that was the first startup point of our NEP 2020. We will find its many prints in that 87 event. Second was in 1992, when our country accepted the policy of LPG liberalization, privatization, and globalization, in which that trade agreement, one of the sector was education sector. Even though in the beginning era, education sector was not much affected by that globalization act policy, but somewhere at the start of this 21st century, its impact we started to feel. Then somewhere again in 92 to 97, one more big change occurred at international level. That was about the concept of, you can say, development. So what is known as Brundtland Report, our Common Future Report, which was accepted by UNO, it was talking about, you can say, the progress or development. That is the new term known as sustainable development came into existence. And sustainable developments, if we see the declarations, particularly Paris Agreement and Bonds Declaration, you will find that world, so one more than 175 of the countries have signed a document which is known as Bonds Declaration, which states that in future the development will only be sustainable development, and onus of that will be on the shoulder of education sector. One more event occurred somewhere in 2005-6, and that was information technology revolution. And except higher education or in general education sector, all sectors of economy, including financial sector, banking sector, share market sector, they opted for digitalization. And in COVID period, we have realized the importance of IT in education also. So those were the international events which necessitate our country also to align our benchmarking, our standardization, our rating of educational institute as per international or global institution. So international labor organization played a big role in aligning the education attributes and components. So this is how alignment at national level, the benchmarking, standardization, attributes, quality testing, it has become necessary to align with international level. So one university, one state, one college could not remain different than that framework. That is how the first word national is important is national education policy. The takeaway from our few minutes discussion is that now India has accepted, is in agreement, is the signatory of many international agreements started in 1987, completely evolved in 2020, and those agreements says that our qualifications, our attributes of our degrees of post graduation or post graduation, they need to be aligned with international accepted benchmark and standard. That is why you will find after 1992 NAC came into existence, National Board of Accreditation came into existence, and our education, right from school education to higher education, will get necessarily aligned with international level, and throughout nation, let it be in any corner of our country, let it be any institution, we will be operating under one common framework called as national framework, which is proposed in this policy. That is why this is a national policy. So everybody of us will get aligned. That is the first thing. Second thing, in this national policy, it talks about the word education. So in this document, the description, definition, expectation from education is very clearly mentioned. So before we proceed, as we have understood why it is national, how nobody from us can escape out of this framework. Second thing, everybody will have to align ourselves with the concept of what is called as education in this document. So second part, we will understand what is expected in term education in this policy, and then what does this policy statement and vision of this policy is there. So this is what we will talk about national education policy, and then we will go for common framework. The foundation of now national education policy, I am very sure that everybody is now very well aware that it is a national, so nobody can say I cannot, I will not implement. Nobody can say I will be away. It is not difficult. What is happening is that everybody of us, including teacher, college or institution, universities, state governments, or central, you can say union governments and all education sector will be now under common framework. That is what is very clear. Now this policy, NEP 2020, is based on these five pillars. Now these five pillars are access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. Let us understand what those pillars are, because everybody of us, whether we design syllabus, whether we impart syllabus, whether we assess student or whether we examine the student, we will be keeping these five poles in our mind. First is access. It is said that present access to education in general and higher education in particular is very low. When this policy was implemented, somewhere 25 to 26%, what is called as gross enrollment ratio was there. It means number of students entering into higher education after passing 12th exam or equivalent. It was as low as, you can say, 25, 26%. But by 2030, we have to reach to that figure of 50%. So access to higher education or in education in general to the young population of this country has to be in big fold increase. Reason, Again, sustainability, first goal of sustainability development is elevation of poverty. Poverty is closely related with education. Health is closely related with education. Standard of living is closely related with education. And since these goals have to be met, as per international agreement, what are known as sustainable development goal. So access to education in general and access to higher education in particular has to be increased manifold. That is why you will find the size of institutions will be very big in thousands. Every institutions will have to grow in thousands, and from monodiscipline everybody has to go into multidisciplinary because access has to be increased. Second is equity, and equity comes out of technology. Everybody, once one person is having mobile phone, or you can say computer with a person, you will find that mobile holder through internet will have access to whatever what Ambani can access through his mobile. A common man like you and me can also access them. So a student from one corner of the country or of the globe will have same access that of a person in metro, or you can say developed part. So that equity will come through implementation and use of information technology in big number. So first pillar is access, second is equity. What is the takeaway? Takeaway is we have to grow in size, we have to grow in number, we have to grow in number of disciplines, collaboration, and you can say clustering will be the order of day. Campuses will be of big thousands in number to enhance access. Our education system will be now more tilted towards technology enabled education system to offer equity. So whomsoever a best teacher from one institution will necessarily will have to be made available to the students of other institutions of any corner. That is why the digital platforms like Swayam will play a big role in coming education system, because that is the second pillar. Third is of course quality. Quality pillars comes from accreditation process. We know that let it be NAC or let it be NBA, the 17 program outcomes will be given, and everybody have to reach to those attributes, those parameters with the benchmark given in the that process. That is why accreditation process, ranking process will increase manifold. In the state of Maharashtra, we are very well aware, and most of our institutions are going for some sort of accreditation. Maybe NIRF, National Ranking Framework, maybe NAC, maybe NBA. So we know and we are approaching, but it is at par country. So that will be enhanced accreditation process to ensure the third pillar quality. Affordability again is from social angle point of view. If we want to have more access, more equity, affordability is of course important. So we will find that education will be supported either through philanthropy or by government in many forms, so that quality education will be affordable and access and equity will increase. Most important, which is new to us, is something accountability. Friends, let us remember now, everything will be outcome based education. So we have entered into the area of outcome based education. So whatever we do, whatever students do, everything will be number one creditized. So if for everything credits will be given, and second thing, everything will be measured against what are where the expected outcome and what are the outcomes actually achieved. So complete system will be in the format of accountability. It means targets will be first set, and at the end, the attainment of those targets will be measured, and appropriate, you can say, actions will have to be taken so that goals desired or the goal set are met. So this is what something new. So our system will get converted into outcome-based education. So these are the 5 pillars on which NEP will be working, or NEP has started working. Now there are various 4 5 parts of this policy. Out of that, for our today's discussion, we will be concentrating on only part 2, that is higher education, and out of that also only chapter 11, that is towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary education, which talks about various, you can say, frameworks like credit framework or NSQF or NHEQF. So that chapter 11 only we will be talking out of the total policy for our today's session. Now, when we have understood now clearly that what that national stands of NEP, now second is E, that is education. In this policy document, very clearly mentioned what do we mean by really education. We say that we want to implement policy for education. So what is education? What is expected out of education? What attributes will come under education? What are the dimensions of education? What are the domains of education? Those are very clearly given, may not be a complete chapter, but when we go through this document, let it be school education or let it be higher education, it clearly talks about what is expected in education by in this policy document. So since we will be concentrating on higher education, but let us understand how education is defined, described, and expressed in this document. We know Swami Vivekananda stated, so Indian philosophy says, so same concept of education is accepted in this policy document. That is, education is the manifestation of divine perfection, which is already within an individual. So very clear that it is perfection is already present in every individual. What we as an educationalist or education institutions have to do, we have to take complete efforts so that those perfection comes out from that individual during the journey of education. So their role, what is learning? Learning is the taking out of perfection by the individual. And what is really teaching? Teaching will be the facilitating, helping individual to manifest the perfection which is already within the individual. So very clear our role is changed to a facilitator from a spoon feeder. That is the very clear message by definition of education. The dictionary of education also defined is that it is the aggregate of all the processes. So what we will be doing? We will be facilitating the processes. Which processes? By which a person develops. We help him to develop. We don't develop anything in him. A person individually develops what? Abilities, attitudes, and behavior and values in which in the society in which one lives. So these 3 terminologies are very important when we go into the detailing of this policy. What are those 3 terms? Abilities, attitudes, behavior, and values. So education integrates a complex of knowledge, attitude, and skills. So what do we mean by now really facilitating the, you can say, manifestation process of any individual? It means we will be helping individual to give or learn knowledge, to learn skills, and to develop the attitudes and behavior, values, and ethics. So we will be operating in 3 domains, that is knowledge, skill, and attitude. This is what this policy document means by education. you will find if we compare the concept of this concept of education with Western thought, Socrates has also mentioned that education is bringing out of ideas of universal validity. Vivekananda said it is a divine perfection. Socrates said universal validity, which are already latent in the mind of every man. So Socrates is not stating anything different than what our philosophers, or you can say our this policy document also says. Plato says it is the capacity. Aristotle says it is the creation of sound mind in sound body. So if we see overall, whether it is Western thoughts, Indian thoughts, or this policy document, concept of education and domains of education are very clear. Now, when we say we are in the field of educating our student, it means we are in the process, or we are the facilitator of the process of three attributes which are in a way already present in any individual. So we will be operating in this arena of new education, national education policy into three domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. So whatever credit framework we will be talking about, whatever qualification framework we will be talking about, you will find that both all anything in NEP will always revolve around these three domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. So before we enter into the frameworks, let us understand to bit what do we mean by cognitive domain, and exactly we as a teacher what we have to do, and student as a learner what a learner has to do. In this domain, we will try to understand. Now, this cognitive domain of education is something which we are doing for years together. It is a knowledge domain. It is the information domain. It is the understanding domain. It is the thinking domain. It is the knowledge domain. So it is more of theoretical concept, what is known as academic domain. So here we mainly operate in theoretical concept, various theories, and what we call it as knowledge. And what are the stages of this domain, knowledge domain, which we are already doing, and what is expected in NEP 2020 of this domain? Friends, the stages are remembering. That is, recalling what is previously learned material. What we call it as smruti, it is a thing of past, something we have already learned and we are expected to recite or recall whenever required. Say, for example, we say that, okay, recite the table of 19, or recite a poem, recite a law, recall the theorem, recall the historical dates, facts. All those had happened, or it is a past, but we have learned it and we remember, and we expect students to remember or recite. So our question that state the law, or you can say something based on memory or memorizing, is definitely a part of domain of knowledge, but it is considered to be lowest level, and NEP expects it only at pre-primary or primary level of education. Definitely, our higher education should not have more emphasis on first stage of knowledge domain, that is remembering. Something memorizing and reciting is considered to be a lower stage. So our syllabus, our paper setting, our assessment, our examination should not have more component of this stage of remembering. Second is comprehension. What is this second stage of what is called as comprehension? It is grasping the meaning of material and explaining the ideas and concepts. We have memorized certain concepts, certain ideas, and then we explain it in our own words or in our own way. That is known as understanding or comprehension. But in NEP, that is also considered to be a lower stage and not expected in higher education. What does it directly mean for us? Our questions in assessment and examination, such as explain, write short notes on, describe, they are not acceptable in big way in this policy, because second stage of understanding or comprehension, is it not necessary? Yes. Is it essential? Yes. But is it sufficient or required? Answer is no. So even though it is essential, it is not the main thrust. So first two stages, remembering and comprehension, understanding, are for lower level and not expected in higher education. Friends, let us understand slowly. Now I am using the word level. So something new concept has been introduced in NEP, that is level based education, competency based education. When we'll go to the framework, that time we will understand it in more. But now slowly I am introducing the words of framework. Third stage of first domain, knowledge domain, is application. What is expected in application? Whatever is learned, whatever is memorized, whatever is understood, a student is expected to use these learnings in new and some concrete situation. So application of knowledge, application of understand whatever you have understood, that knowledge into some new and concrete situation, is the third stage, and it is some basic stage for higher education. Truly speaking, our lower level, which is a bit acceptable in higher education, begins with application. Next stage is analysis. What does this analysis means? It is the breaking the information in parts to explore the understanding of both the content and material. So whatever learnings are there, whether we have remembered, understood, or we are applying it somewhere, but we should have ability, we should facilitate students to learn the ability of critical analyzing the information. Say for example, we say that earth revolves around the sun. This is what I teach to my student. So such type of, you can say, facts I am teaching. But the student is accepting because teacher is saying or because it is written. It is expected that even this single statement, sun, earth revolves around the sun, the student should critically analyze this. He should take it as information. He should critically analyze each part of this, and then only information should get converted into knowledge. So criticality analysis is what is expected in our higher education as per NEP. Still higher stages are evaluation, and final is synthesis. Evaluation is justifying the decision or course of action. The student should be able to judge the value of material for a given purpose. And last is synthesis. A student should be able to formulate new structure from existing knowledge and skills. Friends, let us in one line understand this domain. Remembering is smruti, that is, it is of our past, while synthesis is use of brain, buddhi, and it is for future. And we will be operating in present. So relating past, operating in present, and preparing for future is the journey of knowledge domain in NEP. That is why it begins with Indian knowledge system, and it ultimately results into creating innovation, invention, and creating new things, new knowledge. So this is the journey of higher education. We will begin from Indian knowledge system, most traditional way, And at the end of every year or every level, we will be in the process of generating new knowledge. This is what is the cognitive domain of education. The knowledge domain, you will find it has got two types of knowledge. One is descriptive knowledge and other is procedural knowledge. This descriptive knowledge is through theories, concepts, principles, and it is what is known as academic stream. Our education system up till now was more focused, more working on descriptive knowledge domain, that is theories, concepts, and principle. The paradigm shift is from descriptive knowledge, we will be going to procedural knowledge, means from knowing that to knowing how. So this is what is the journey in this domain. So we have to understand when we design the syllabus, we impart the syllabus, or we evaluate the student, that regarding first domain, that is knowledge domain, the framework talks about from knowing that to knowing how. That journey is the change. This is what we mean by national education policy. So it has been taken from Bloom's revised taxonomy. You will find that remembering is the lowest stage and creating is the highest stage. We will be operating in higher education from creating, evaluating, analyzing, and applying. These will be the stages in which mainly our higher education system will be operating. Now, second domain, as we have seen, it is the perfection that has to be manifested. So perfection is in three that we have already seen in education. First was knowledge. Second is about skills, what is known as psychomotor domain. It is about doing. So what is the change in our from the earlier system to present system? We will have equal weightage of psychomotor domain. Let it be arts education, let it be commerce education, let it be science education, let it be engineering education. From knowledge domain, we will be shift equally giving weightage to doing or skilling domain, that is psychomotor domain. Again, here there are 7 stages. First is perception, that is senses clues that guide the motor activity, very preliminary. Say, for example, in schools, we tell student, now if some guest comes, student should stand up in the class. So this is the perception. Somebody guides the individual senses and then activity is taken place. In our physical education on the, you can say, grounds, the instructor guides student to perform, to stand, to do some drills or some exercises. So guide and the students follow that, senses the clues given, and then they do the activities. So that is known as perception. And in this policy, that is the lowest level of psychomotor or doing the skills. And in higher education, it should be very minimum. Second is set. So as we say, get, set, go. So this set is about preparing the student mentally and emotionally ready to act. So this is when we will give any subject, we have to ensure these skills regarding that subject also comes into it. And from perception, we have to prepare more on preparing students mentally and emotionally and making them ready to act. This is the facilitation we are expected to do. But again, that is considered as a lower stage in higher education. Third is guided response, wherein the students imitates and practices skills in discrete steps, one by one steps. Exercise number 1, exercise number 2, experiment number 1, experiment number 2. So in discrete steps, the teacher or supervisor is available, and according to the whatever the teacher, supervisor, facilitator guides, the candidate responds to it, imitates and practices the skill, and it will be in discrete step. So this is the minimum acceptable level in higher education. Next is mechanism. Performs acts with increasing efficiency, confidence, and proficiency. Then complete overt response, that is performs automatically. Suppose a student of 8th, 9th class, we ask them to do titration. Probably it will be under guided response, or at the most by the 12th it will become under mechanism where student will do it with efficiently and proficiency. But by the time a science student enters higher education, you will find the handling of some instruments, electrical instrument or chemistry lab instrument, you will find that student performs automatically. So level of complete overt response is achieved, and this is what we have to ensure in higher education. Next is adoption, where the students adopt the skill sets to meet a problem situation. Now student is expected to be a problem solver. So that is what is expected. That type of level of skill is expected in higher education. And as I was saying, last is creating new pattern. Creativity, generating the knowledge is ultimate aim of higher education. So it will start again with Smruti. So whatever is memorized, for whatever is practiced, whatever efficiency level of skill is achieved. But finally, when the student comes to outcome, final year, it is expected that he is able to create new patterns for any given situation. So this is the journey, even in second, that is psychomotor domain. So psychomotor domain will have two things important, that is capacity, which are divided further into competencies and learning outcomes. So this capacity, what do we mean? Capacity means to students should be able to exercise the ability successfully, not only once but many times consistently and accurately. The student should be able to work with different material or numbers. So this is what is expected skill, and it is evaluated on two way. One is competency. As I told you, whole education will is getting converted into competency based education. What is the difference between competency and learning outcome? Competency are observable and assessed systematically throughout the, you can say, journey of the education, while learning outcomes are attained over a period of time. Therefore, competency is the intermittent milestone of learning outcome. I told you where the accountability, outcome-based education is the pillar of NEP. So everything will be in terms of, even learning will be in the terms of measuring the learning outcome, and that throughout the process, when intermittently that outcome is measured or evaluated, that is called as competency. So competencies, just say for example, level will be in-depth basic skills and allied knowledge of work, say identifying use of tools for practice, approaches task in a planned or systematic manner, maintains and handles material and equipment, or develop essential values while working in specific vocation, or develop basic skills and allied knowledge to run and contribute, applies the knowledge and skill acquired. So these are the competencies which are expected to be imbibed in our learners. So as I told you, this domain is again divided in 7 stages, while perception is lowest, and organization, that is creating the new pattern, is the highest. And we in higher education institution are expected to more work from guided response to organization. Perceptions and set are the domains for school education, and higher stages are for higher education. Remember, friends, this education policy or concept of education is right from pre-primary level 1 to level 8, that is higher education and PhD. Framework concepts are same, so they are applicable for all the levels of education. The third domain, which we probably were not acquainted with, earlier we did not have much emphasis on this domain is values and dispositions, behavioral, what is called as affective domain. These values and dispositions, these are two different terminologies. They are needed for strong motivation in addition to knowledge and capacity. It is worldwide accepted that having knowledge or having capacities are not sufficient. What is equally important is motivation in doing or discharging one's duty. So those motivation part comes from this domain. So these are because they are the sources of motivation. Values are beliefs about what is right and wrong, while dispositions are attitudes and perceptions that form the basic basis for behavior. So here, in this domain, values are also important. So we have to make belief strong, what is right and what is wrong. Say, for example, gender discrimination. Wrong is wrong. So we have to develop that whether it is male, female, or third gender, any discrimination on gender, or you can say religion, or what one eats, how one attire, what type of attire is there. So those things cannot be the basis or discrimination, or discrimination is bad, it is wrong. That is the value and belief. So it is something like that. Through education, good values must get imbibed, universal human values should get imbibed into the student. So that is also a part of now our education. And another is disposition, that is attitude and perceptions, which form the basis for behavior. So this aspect is also the part of education. This is the affective domain. Now this domain has also got 5-6 stages. Receiving, that is selectively attends to the stimuli. We tell something and the candidate behaves accordingly. कोई आया तो उसको नमस्ते करो. We should respect elders. So those are sort of a receiving type of, you can say, part of affective domain, that when stimuli is given, a person selectively attends it. Lowest part. Responding, a person responds to the stimuli. In our higher education, it will begin from valuing, organization, and internalization. Valuing is attaching value or worth to do something. If I do tree plantation program also, I should be able to imbibe values in the student about such program, because it will also earn them credit. Right from that, what experiments I do, everything, how I write, plagiarism I do or not. So anything what I do should get value, should also be attached. This is what, so when we will assess our student, examine our student, we give home assignment, and present practice is that few students do, others copy. And we teachers also do not mind. Probably henceforth that we will not be able to do, because the copying from others will have to be considered as wrong. It will be the part of a value system, and we cannot simply equate or neglect copying from original writing. So such type of, in day-to-day life also, our education system will have to demonstrate value-based system in our working. Organization conceptualizing the values and resolve the conflict between it and other values. There may be different value system. We are, as I told you, it is a process of globalization. Value system of some part of the globe may be different than our value system. What we eat, how we dress, that type of our value system of eating and dressing may be altogether different than the eating and attire of some other people in the globe. But we will have to conceptualize, accept overall value system, and such conflicts will have to be resolved. That is what we have to imbibe, such type of systems in our student. And integration of value into value system. Wherever we work, we have to ensure our learners in whatever domain they will go after getting degrees, postgraduate degrees or doctorates, we have to imbibe those behavioral and dispositions in them so that in wherever they go, they will be able to integrate the value system and control the behavior wherever the system in which they will be operating. This is what is expected in third domain, and you will find that all these three domains will be part of our curriculum, our syllabus, our assessment, and for each level, as I am introducing the word level every time, for each level, the expectation of each domain is different depending upon the level. So again, affective domain, feeling, attitude, you will receiving is the lowest and internalizing is the highest. Now, once we have understood the domains of education, let us understand types of education mentioned in our. Now, I understand everybody has understood the word national, why national is there, why education is there. Now, in definition of education, we have understood the various domains, their stages. Now, what is expected in types of education in this document? One term is academic education. What is this academic education? It is focusing on cognitive information and knowledge domain. That is something which we are presently doing. We are in academic education domain presently focusing more on cognitive, and equal weightage is not there for psychomotor and affinitive. Second type of education mentioned is vocational education. How vocational education is different than academic education? In academic education, knowledge or whatever little bit skill is given is generic. But in vocational education, this knowledge and skill is linked, closely linked with the specific practical challenges and work situations in the economy. Say, for example, academic education may be BSc, general physics, chemistry, or BA or BCom, and covering overall. But vocational education may be in commerce, banking domain is specifically targeted, and whatever knowledge, skills, and behavior required for banking, if it is focused on that, it becomes a vocational education. So that is the basic difference between academic education and vocational education. What does this policy say? Policy says that there should be integration of academic education and vocational education. So presently, vocational education integrates complex of knowledge, attitude, skills for particular occupation, while academic education focuses only on information and knowledge. When NEP is being implemented, you will find a fine blend of vocation into academic education. So we will be having component of vocational education into academic education henceforth. Another type of education mentioned in policy is professional education. So academic education, vocational education, professional education. What is professional education mentioned in this policy document? It is the preparation of professionals involving, that is, education in ethics, importance of public purpose, education in the discipline, and education for practice. So it centrally involves critical and interdisciplinary thinking, discussion, debate, research, innovation, and professional education cannot be taken in isolation of only speciality. This is a very critical statement. So even technical educations like degree, diploma programs in engineering, management, architecture, town planning, pharmacy, hotel management, catering technology, they will not be working in isolation. Integration of professional education, academic education, and vocational education is the path of implementation of NEP. Friends, the takeaway is that we have understood what is education, we have understood domains of education, we have understood types of education. Now, once these fundamental definitions we have understood, let us go what this policy document talks, what is the vision given in this policy. Now, very clearly the policy states education should be enable individual to study one or more specialized area of interest. That is one area or one or few. That is why major and minor will come into picture. One more specialized will be major. Second, specialized but to not that extent will be minor. Along with that, develop character, ethical, constitutional value, intellectual curiosity, scientific temperament, creativity, spirit of service, affinitive. So first part, academic. Second part is behavioral, value, ethics, that is affinitive. And third is 21st century capabilities. That is along with science, social science, art, humanities, languages, professional, technical, vocational subject. So it will be a complex network of various types of education, various disciplines, and all the three domains of education. As per the levels and stages of each of it, it will be integrated. Our role will be facilitator to have this 360-degree personality development of the student. This is what is the policy statement. What for this education? We have to prepare our student for more meaningful and satisfying lives, prepare the student for their work role, and we have to prepare student to enable economic independence. So these are the targets. As I told you, the fifth pillar is accountability. So what for we are accountable? We will be held accountable for whether our students are leading meaningful or satisfying lives or not, whether we have prepared them for their future work roles or not, and whether students are economically independent or not. So this will be the test for any educational institution and the system, that is university, college, you can say management, teachers. So they are accountable for these three types of major outcomes. Rest is the process. Now the purpose of education is also very clearly defined. Our purpose is to develop good human beings capable of rational thoughts and actions, possessing compassion, empathy, courage, resilience, scientific temperament and creative imagination, ethical moral and values, engaged, productive, contributing citizens for building equitable, inclusive, plural society as envisaged in our constitution. And our aim will not only for cognitive development as presently being done, but building character, creating holistic, well-rounded individual equipped with skills. So ultimately, knowledge, deep-seated treasure, and helps in manifestation of perfection. So whatever is the definition of education has to be ensured through the process of that development of the characteristics. Now the vision of this, you can say, document is the 50% of the learner should have exposure to vocational education. What is the takeaway? Vocational education will be integral part of our typical academic higher education. So our syllabi, our curriculum will have a major component of skilling vocational things in whatever stream a student is learning and we are teaching. Second, alignment with sustainable development. I told you that SDG has got impact in framing national education policy, and that is clearly mentioned in its vision statement. It is very clearly mentioned that vocational capacity development will go hand in hand in development of academic and other capability. We have to ensure overcoming of social status. Say, for example, somebody has left conventional education after 10 and has joined MCVC. We consider that those who go for ITI, those who go for MCVC are inferior to those who come to degree programs of university. So this has to be removed from the education system. That is the first reform expected in NEP. Second is integration of vocational education in all educational institutions, from school to higher colleges. That is the second reform. It will be, you can say, there in implementation of NEP. With the higher educational institutions will be permitted to offer vocational courses along with academic courses in undergraduate programs with course content having adequate hands-on experience with requisite theoretical background. And this vocational education we can give on our own or in partnership with industry or in partnership with NGO. Even vocational courses can be given or can be learned on ODL, that is online digital learning board also. So this is what, so this mandate is clear. Vocational education, skilling will be a major part of education from whatever way we can give. Then another major reform is education must move towards less content. Friends, when we will design our curriculum, whenever we will put up the syllabus, we have to ensure that the content of our syllabi has to be reduced. And it should be more towards how to think critically, how to solve problems, how to be creative, how to be multidisciplinary, how to innovate, how to adopt, how to absorb new things, how to get ourselves adapted to new changing field. This should be the part of our curriculum. Conventional academic learn, you can say, remembering matter, historical matter should have less content, and this content has to be more. See, these are the clear cut guidelines of NEP. These are the reforms which we have to understand as a board of studies member or as a teacher or as a assessor or examiner. Another thing is we must develop not only cognitive capacities, which we are doing presently, but higher order cognitive capacities. So we have understood what are the levels and stages of cognitive domain. So higher order domain we have to operate, such as critical thinking and problem solving, along with these values and disposition. So skilling is another new thing in our framework, which we will see now. Skilling has to be made. See, vocational education is different and skilling is little bit different. Skilling is a continually changing, adapting to the new requirement, that type of thing, short-term programs. So anticipating the job market trend and learning opportunity, that is the first stage known as skill gap analysis. Reason is the jobs which were existed few years ago, now they are outdated. We know what havoc artificial intelligence is creating. All routine jobs are likely to go. But unless we equip students with new required skills, so identification of those required skills, that is skill gap analysis, will have to be done by each of us, each educational institution and stakeholders of education. I will just show you one UGC report why this 21st century skills is required and why this skill component, a variable component continually. every individual, every institute will have liberty to design this course and impart. No need of because it will be a very temporary, short-term type of a education. Whatever required in market has to be given. The UGC report states in next 3 years, 85 million jobs will be lost. So if we provide knowledge, skill, or psychomotor in those domains which will not have any jobs, it will be we will not be preparing our students for their future life, for future job ready. Very clearly it is mentioned that 85 million jobs will be lost, but simultaneously it states 97 million new ones will be created. So according to the whatever is the skill gap requirement, job requirement, it is expected that higher education institutions will run short-term courses continually to impart market-driven courses. So we are allowed to conduct short-term certificate courses in various skills. It should be of minimum 12 credits or maximum 30 credits. We know now what credit means. We will again see when we will go to credit framework. 15 hours of theory means 1 credit and 30 hours of practical means 1 credit. And this short-term skilling development program should have greater focus on practical. And these programs should be what market demands, what type of skill is required in the sector of economy. According to that, every institution will have to see what are the opportunities and should run such courses. This is the great reform brought in by NEP. So work integrated training and other models will also be there. That is apprenticeship or internship and certification courses will also be the integral part of our education. So internship and apprenticeship on-job training will be essential component of our higher education. So focus area of vocational education will be based on skill gap analysis and mapping of local opportunity. So the fifth, though you can say pillar, accountability will be every institute, every university will be accountable for doing the skill gap analysis and identifying the local opportunity and accordingly designing the skill courses, short-term skill courses. This is where a new accountability will be there on us. And the guidelines are also given how that skill development short-term courses should be there. Every individual can do it, every institute can do it. So it should be regarding engaging and updating the curriculum. It should be enhancing the digital know-how to be future ready. It should be for training, rescaling, upscaling. So new terminologies are coined: skill, learn, unlearn, relearn, lifelong learn. So that type of journey will be there in our higher education institution. And we have to create space in terms of time and room to learn from experienced professional. So integrating of experienced people, that is why professor of practice, industrial expert, those positions are created by UGC also, and educational institutions are expected to take advantage of schemes of professors of practice or industrial expert. That is the outcome of this policy document, creation of room to learn from experienced professional. So this is, friends, the second part of our today's interaction. Before I go to the, you can say, framework, let us have small recap. We have understood the journey of this document, what is called as NEP 2020, right from 1987 to say accepting the as a policy up to 2020. So what international levels events impacted evolution of this policy? Let it be Washington Accord, let it be globalization policy, Let it be the report of our common future and evolution of concept of sustainable development. Let it be information technology revolution and its impact on all spheres of economy. Let it be outdated part of our curriculum. And most importantly, it is the international commitment to align all attributes, all level, all qualifications with internationally accepted standards. So this process is of localization, taking localization to globalization. So that is why for India, everybody will be operating under certain outcome-based education framework. So whether institute or individual university or individual teacher is in one corner or other corner, everybody will be under standard framework. That is why this national policy, it is a national policy. Second, we have understood first time very clearly what do we mean by education. What are, you can say, domains of education? What are stages of each of the domain? And what are the types of education, academic education, vocational education, technical education? So types of education and is very clearly given. So we have very clearly understood what education means now. And third was P, policy part. So integrating all domains, particularly vocational and skilling domain, values and disposition domain into academic domain is the major thrust of this policy. This is what we have understood. Now, to get whatever has been envisaged in this vision, whatever is expected, certain national level frameworks are given. I think we should take 5 minutes break because lot many theoretical things, conceptual things have been discussed. Now we will be really entering into the framework part, which everybody must understand. Let it be BOS member or let it be a teacher. Everybody should understand this framework because this is what will make equivalency of 1 degree, 1 certificate with equivalency of any other in the country. This is the basis for credit framework. This is the basis for academic bank of credit. This is the basis when students will be earning credit, depositing those credits into bank and withdrawing those credits to get certification. So to go into this understanding of framework, we have first understood complete background pillars of NEP. I think we will take a short break of 5 minutes so that we will again recoup for future discussion. Meantime, if anybody is having any question on whatever we have presently discussed, I will be glad to interact. Else, exactly after 5 to 7 minutes, we will rejoin and continue. Is it okay, friends?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Please, if any question you can ask, or we will have a very short break of 6-7 minutes. Ankit, is it okay? I think Ankit. Friends, is it okay for all of us?
Hello,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir. Yes, sir.
please, any
Yes, sir. We
question
will
you
take the
can
break
ask?
and we'll
Yeah,
continue after the break, sir.
yes, very good. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So sharp for 4:30, sir.
Yes, yes, sharp 4:30 we will rejoin.
Okay, so participants, there will be a break for 10 minutes and we will reassemble sharp at 4:30 with our and continue the schedule. Thank you.
So welcome back, friends. Should we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So just a minute. Let me. Okay. So let us quickly within 1 or 2 minutes. Let us take the recap so that we can correlate what we have interacted, because that is the foundation for our next discussion. We have understood the importance of this policy document from our perspective, as we will be getting ourselves into the network at national level, and this national level network is aligned with international level standards or international level commitments. So whatever location whatever institution we are, will be having certain standard, will be operating under standard framework, some attribute in terms of, you can say, education, concept of education, our role as educator, we will be shifting from teacher-centric system into student-centric system. We will have multiple role, rather than along with teacher, we will be facilitator, and we will be earlier operating in only one domain, that is academic education or knowledge domain. Now we will be operating in other two domains equally, that is psychomotor domain and affinative domain, wherein we have to integrate vocational education into our mainstream education, and we have to adopt to disposition, values, ethics education in this, and ultimately we will be accountable for preparing our student for their future jobs. We will be accountable for our students as far as their economic independence in future will be considered. So our role responsibilities have been increased many-fold, and it will be at par with anybody in the nation and aligned with the globe. With this takeaway, since all of us will be operating under some certain well-defined standardized frameworks, so it is necessary for us to understand what framework we are talking about. So we will be operating as per the instruments which are taken out by regularity authorities, statutory bodies. We will be operating mainly under three frameworks. I am talking about we as a teacher, or we as an institution, or we as a university. First, we will be operating under credit framework. We will be operating importantly in qualification framework, and we will be operating as far as curriculum and syllabus is considered, learning outcome based curriculum framework. So we will be discussing these frameworks one by one now. Now this credit framework is again national credit framework accepted by UGC, AICT, whatever are our national regularity and statutory bodies. This credit framework is accepted by all regularity bodies. Hence, it will be applicable to all types of institutions henceforth. What does this national credit framework is talked about? Earlier, our students used to get marks. Here, as in tune with international, you can say, framework, and aligning Indian system with international global level, the basic principle of credit framework is credits are the functions of achieving desired learning outcome for a program, course, training determined by successful assessment. See, what are the keywords in this credit framework or fundamental basic principle is desired learning outcomes. So learning outcomes are desired. So they are specified before the learner starts learning. What learning outcomes are expected has to be first put up. It has to be a program, course, or training, everything. The whatever learning takes place, everything will be creditized. Let it be NSS, let it be NCC, let it be laboratory, let it be theory, let it be internship. Whatever learning happens, it will be creditized, and for each event, there will be well specified learning outcome. And most important is successful assessment. So those learning outcomes are to be measured and are to be ensured that the outcomes are achieved. So achievements of the outcome through assessment is the important part of this framework. So summarizing this statement, there will be statements of learning outcome for everything, and it will be assessed under certain benchmark, and achievement of those outcomes will be basis for giving credits. So this is the basic principle on which this credit framework works. The major dimensions of this national credit framework encompasses credits earned by virtue of completed academic education. So cognitive domain, whatever is done, learned in academic domain, that will lead to after assessment earning of the credit. It will be by virtue of undergoing vocational education, training, and even skilling program, that short-term skilling program also. So second domain, whatever is done under psychomotor, doing skilling, vocationalizing, training, skilling, under that is done by the student after successful evaluation, ensuring the attainment of the outcome. Credits will be given even for those. Even credits will be earned by virtue of experiential learning, relevant experience, profession level acquired. So even experience will also entail student to earn credit. Of course, successful assessment is again important. In one line, whatever the learner does in the institution, out of the institution, but learning happens, those students will be, you can say, entitled to earn credits after assessment. So this is in second major dimension. Now, notional hours and credit. How many credits and after what? That is also very clearly defined, and this is what everybody of us should very clearly understood. 1 year, suppose we say that one first year, second year, third year, generally duration of any program we measure in terms of, you can say, some year, month, or week. 1 week faculty development program, 2 week faculty development program, 1 month training, 2 months internship, 1 semester learning, 1 year of study. So everything we measure on the scale of time. So this credit framework define for when we say 1 year, 1 year means there should be 1200 learning hours. Then and then it will constitute as 1 year. So 1 year doesn't mean here 12 months. It doesn't mean 365 days. But in credit framework, 1 year will necessarily have minimum 1200 learning hours. So since we are having semester system, 1 semester should have minimum 600 learning hours. So whomsoever are in board of studies, when they frame the syllabus, ensure that 600 learning hours are there in our syllabus per semester. Let it be syllabus of first semester or second semester, third or fourth or fifth or sixth. Whatever semester we are talking about, minimum learning hours should be 600. And minimum 600 learning hours will give 20 credits. So there is no point in stating that we have framed a syllabus of 20 credits per semester and 40 credits per year. Simultaneously, we have to ensure that our scheme of learning shows, proves, demonstrates 600 learning hours, notional learning hours. So this is the relationship between learning hours and credit. So for every 1200 hours of learning, the student can earn after successful assessment 40 credits. And credit points are something different. I state you one example. Suppose I am talking about first year. After 12th, student enter into higher education system and student is in first year. What does it mean in NCRF or credit framework? It means student is for level 4.5. So first year is level 4.5. So first semester, what level? No level. Second semester, 4.5 level. So when a student completes first year, we say that the student has achieved competency of level 4.5. What does that level 4.5 means? It means student can get a certificate if the student prefers to leave the education and go out of education system. We will say that student has achieved level 4.5 and we can give him certificate. What does that 1 year means? 1 year means 2 semester, first semester and 2 semester. It means first semester will be of 600 minimum learning hour and minimum 20 credit. Second semester will be of 600 hours and 20 credits. Overall, first year means 1200 learning hours, minimum 40 credits, attainment of level 4.5 and attainment of credit points of 180. This is nationally common framework in which everybody will be operating. So we as a teacher, suppose I am not any board of studies member, but I am a teacher. When any syllabus come to me, I should see that my learning scheme shows for the all subjects together, there is a provision of minimum 600 hours per semester. This is what is the meaning of this credit system. So for each semester, we will have 600 learning hours. Every semester will have minimum 90 teaching days. 90 teaching days, say we say that it comes to 15 weeks, then minimum learning hours per week has to be 40. If our academic calendar states our one semester is of 18 weeks, then minimum 35 learning hours have to be there. So depending upon weeks in a semester, which is decided by academic calendar, you divide 600 by number of weeks, so many weekly learning hours have to be provided. What comes under learning hours is also very clearly specified. Even assessment comes, self-learning comes. So give some hours for self-learning, assignment also. Generally, our syllabus is of 26 to 30 contact hours. We have to make it to 35 to 40. So show remaining hours as assessment hours or self-learning hours. But our syllabus should show completion of minimum 600 learning hours in a semester. So what do we mean by credit? For theory and tutorial, 1 hour of you can say learning is 1 credit, and for practical 2 hours of learning is 1 credit. Suppose we have got three, you can see in a timetable, 3 periods. Now our all periods will be of 1 hour only. Earlier we used to have 45 minutes, 48 minutes. So that system will go. One period means equal to 1 hour and 1 period per week equal to 1 credit. Suppose there are 3 periods shown in my syllabus. So that course is of 3 credit. Suppose the practical is shown of 2 hours in a week, then the student will be earning 1 credit after that semester completion of that practical. This is how the credit framework will work, and this credit framework will be applicable for all institutions and programs throughout the country. That is why it is National Credit Framework, and this is the fundamental document for equivalency of the courses. Now, second is National Qualification Framework, NQF. I hope credit framework is very well understood. I will just within 1 minute recap what is credit framework. The credits can be earned from ever learning happens, and credits are related with learning hours. For theory and tutorial, 15 hours of learning equal to earning of 1 credit after assessment. Learning outcomes have to be clearly mentioned. That is why course outcome, program outcome have to be given in syllabus, and we have to ensure attainment of those learning outcomes. Once it is ensured, the credits will be given to the student. So number 1, for practicals, it will be 2 hours equivalent to 1 credit. And in semester, there should be 600 learning hours. It will entail 20 credits. If the semester is of 15 weeks, then minimum 40 learning hours per week. That will entail, you can say, 20 credits. So this is what is the credit framework. Now we are talking about qualification framework. Now this qualification framework is also standardized and uniform throughout the country, pan-India, and it is aligned with international universities and institutions. So local to globalization through qualification framework and credit framework is our journey. Now they have very clearly defined in this document what do we mean by qualification. Qualifications are awards. Who awards it? Awarded by competent authorities such as college or university. Suppose I have got a shop, I run some course and I give that certificate. It will not be considered. But if my shop is recognized as an institution of learning by university, in that case, even skill course of my shop will also entail student to get credit. So all the centers given, established and recognized by sector skill councils, they will can run their courses and students can earn credit provided their certificate clearly states that it is a recognized competent authority. So it is the certification awards given by competent authority when the completion of successful program, so duration has to be done and attainment has to be demonstrated. So assessment is important part. So it will be in recognition of attainment by student of the expected learning outcome. In outcome-based system, first learning outcome will be specified, duration learning hours will be specified, it will be assessed by some competent authority, and when it is demonstrated that students or learner has attained the expected competency, then credits and qualification will be given. That is what will be called as now qualification. Now this qualification or formal awards will have nomenclature like certificate, diploma, bachelor's degree, 3 years bachelor degree, 4 years bachelor degree, master's degree or doctoral degree. So this is very clearly mentioned in qualification. It is already very clearly mentioned that it will be awarded only after assessment and evaluation of learning levels. So it will be level based, certificate, diploma, degree, everything will be related with the level, and it will be given only after assessment and evaluation by whom? By competent authority, which is authorized to determine the achievement of the expected learning outcome. Then each qualification is aligned with credit system based on attainment of defined learning outcome. See, the credit framework is also aligned with qualification, you can say framework. And this qualification will be accepted nationally, internationally as competency to follow the occupational practice. Now, once we have understood qualification and who can award this qualification, next is what is qualification framework. Now, all these qualifications are structured. So, it is qualification framework is the way of structuring existing and new qualification which are defined by learning outcomes reflecting graduate attributes, program learning outcome, course learning outcome. Now, these all outcomes are the statements of what learner is expected to know and he is expected to able to do or demonstrate on successful completion of the program. So this is the framework is nothing but architecture. It is the way all these qualifications are structured. Obviously, certificate will be at the bottom and PhD will be at the top. But now everything is a structured those qualification nationally, and that is called as National Qualification Framework. It will be applicable pan India. And each of the qualification will be related with certain level, and those will be given in specified by general statements regarding achievement of the learner. Now this achievement will be required to be in three domains: academic domain, skill domain, and behavioral domain. So this is how domains, credits, qualification, they are all put in a framework, what is called as qualification framework. So qualification framework will be competency-based education and training, outcome-based learning. These two constitute the important aspect of framework. Remember, friend, everything will get reformed into competency-based and outcome-based. Knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes, all three domains acquired by or possessed by individual will be more important than mode of acquiring them. So acquiring can be through formal mode, informal mode, non-formal mode, you can say offline mode, online mode. So what mode, that is not important in framework, but if a candidate attaining certain levels by any mode and in the all three domains will be given credits, will be given qualification, and can be placed suitably in this qualification framework. This is the big reform which is coming. And as I told you, national qualification framework is aligned with international qualification framework. In the world, there are various qualification framework, but Bologna process is overarching framework under European higher education area for developing NEPs in European country. And the descriptors of this Bologna framework is Dublin descriptors. So these are the general statement about outcome, and our country has followed nearly, not truly complete, it's not just copying of it, but India has accepted European higher education qualification framework, which is known as Bologna framework, and their descriptors statement, which are called as Dublin descriptors in our system also. So we will not study what is this European framework or what is Bologna process or what is Dublin descriptor, but we will study what is our national qualification framework only. But everybody of us should understand that our qualification is aligned with international qualification and European qualification framework. We have, you can say, considered our framework will be more aligned our statements will be more aligned towards European qualification framework, because most part of the globe have accepted and everybody is aligning with that. So again, I repeat, our journey is towards globalization, standardization, benchmarking. Credit framework is also aligning with international standards. Qualification framework and qualification statement and our qualification descriptors are also aligned with, you can say, international level standard. That is why the process of accreditation, which is also aligned with international standards, is totally now networked in this implementation of policy. Again, I repeat, this will be applicable pan-India, so nobody can remain aloof of credit framework. Nobody can remain aloof of competency-based, level-based education system. Nobody can aloof himself from qualification framework, so which we are discussing presently. So from international qualification framework, India has given national qualification framework. What is it? It is the instrument for classification of various qualifications according to a set of criteria for specified levels of learning achieved, which will integrate and coordinate the qualification from each and every education and training sector into a single comprehensive qualification framework. So let us, friend, understand this national qualification framework is a nationwide single comprehensive qualification framework. It covers each and every educational as well as training sector, and it integrates and coordinates qualification from all. So transfer from academic to vocational or vocational to academic. This interchange will be made possible because it is a single comprehensive framework, and it will be based on certain set of criteria for a specified level. Now we won't talk first year, we will say 4.5 level. We won't talk second year, we will say level 5. We won't talk third year, we will say level 5.5. So for each of the level, there will be a set of criteria and qualification statements. When we say I have passed for first year, it means I have taken level 4.5. It means I can get certificate. So that will be related with certain set of criteria, certain qualification statement, and those will be in all three domains. And this complete, you can say, putting them into comprehensive framework is what called as NQF or National Qualification Framework. This is very important concept which all of us should understand while implementing national education policy. You will find that this national qualification framework is for vocational education training known as VET. It is for, you can say, vocational education also, that is NBEQF. It is for skill education also known as NSQF, and it is also for higher education called as NHEQF. Since we are in higher education domain, in today's discussion, we will be more talking about NHEQF, and this NHEQF is based on NSQF because vocational and academic education is to be integrated. So first, before 2013 only, NSQF, under the guidance of International Labour Organization and other member countries of that, you can say, agreement, according to that, in 2013, NSQF was ready. Our NEP was given in 2014 and accepted in 2020. So this policy says that NSQF will be further detailed into NHEQF. That is how NHEQF came into existence. So to understand NHEQF, we should understand little bit NSQF. Just again, you can say, summarizing what we have talked about qualification framework is that Bologna process or European qualification framework is globally accepted framework, and our framework is a bit aligned with Bologna process and Dublin descriptors. Dublin descriptors are nothing but the statements for each of the level, that is, and each domain also. Cognitive domain, what level, what is expected, that statement. The skilling domain, psychomotor domain, what level, we have understood in the first part, what are various stages, what stage, what is expected. Affinitive domain, what level, what you can say stage of affinitive domain, a statement. So such type of statements are expected learning outcomes, and for each level, those expected attainment is required, and together we call this as framework. And let us understand little bit of NSQF, because extension of NSQF is NHEQF. What is applicable to we as higher education? NHEQF, National Higher Education Qualification Framework, is applicable to us. So now when we will be implementing from this year, we will be truly implementing NHEQF through our syllabus and curriculum. So let us little bit understand about NSQF, and then we will go to NHEQF. So this NSQF, as I told you, it is in align with the international standard classification of occupation maintained by ILO, that is International Labour Organization. And it is basis for recognition of prior learning. And through this mechanism, dropouts will also be reintegrated, and this credit-based framework will facilitate mobility from general education, academic education, to the vocational education, and from vocational education to the general education. This is the vision of NEP in this respect. And NSQF recently has notified on 6 June 2023 that it is the outcome and competency-based framework which organizes qualifications according to the series of levels of knowledge, skills, aptitude, and responsibility levels defined in terms of learning outcomes, which the learner must acquire, maybe through formal, non-formal, or informal learning. So mode is not important. It can be formal, non-formal, online, offline, but learning outcomes are very clearly specified in the statement, and depending upon the level, the qualification will be given. This is the document or framework of a fundamental basis for NSQF. It will comprise of academics, vocational education training, skilling, as well as experiential learning, including experience, proficiency, and it will be subject to assessment. Friends, I reiterate, assessment and demonstration of competency is the key part of any, you can say, level or qualification. Now, NSQF incorporate the provision laid down in NEP as well as in National Credit Framework. Now, this NSQF has given 8 levels. Level 1 to 8 are given, and level 1 to 4, that is level 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and 4. They are up to what we call it as either diploma institution or 12th. So school level, I will call it together. So from level 1 to 4 will be school level, 10 plus 2 level, or 10 plus 3 diploma level. This is what is the level for NSQF from level 1 to 4. So we will not go into detail because we are discussing only higher education. So for us, NSQF level are from level 4.5 to level 8. So what we call it as first year will be level 4.5. What we call it as second year is level 5. What we call it PhD is level 8. So everything now will be classified in levels, and each level will represent different level of skills, complexity, knowledge, responsibility, and autonomy required to demonstrate. Word is important, assessment and demonstrate the competence commensurate with that level. Level 1 of the framework represents the lowest complexity, while highest level, that is level 8, represents the highest complexity. So it is the complexity, you can say level, of course, for all three domains, and depending upon that complexity, the levels are from 4.5 to 8 in case of higher education. Now, NQF, NSQF will lead to NHEQF. So we have understood what was NQF. We have got understood what is NSQF. Now, NHEQF, which has come out from NQF and NSQF, it is also the instrument for development, classification, and recognition of qualifications along a continuum of levels from 4.5 to 8. Level 1 to 4 are in school education. So I hope we have understood what is international qualification framework. We have understood what is national qualification framework. We have understood the levels in national skill qualification framework. Now all these things have led to what is applicable to us, that is National Higher Education Qualification, that is NHEQF. So let us have some, we will throw some light for another 10-15 minutes maximum, because then we will keep for question answer about National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEQF. So in case of NHEQF, complete higher education system is now classified into level. Say for example, level 4.5 is undergraduate certificate program. Its duration will be first year, that is 1 year after 12, which will consist of 2 semesters. So level 4.5 is consist of 2 semesters of first year. And if some student wants to exit, multi-entry, multi-exit is there in NEP. Suppose we don't want student to go out of education, but because of certain compulsion, if the student has to opt to go out, then additional 4 credit skill enhancement course or internship will be done. And after undergoing learning of 1 year, now when I say 1 year, we fully understand 1200 learning hours and telling him 40 credit plus 4 exit credit, that is 44 credits in first year level. If the student earns, then we will issue him the certificate and we will say that student has attained the level of 4.5. Level 5 is undergraduate diploma program. It will be of first 2 years, means 4 semester. Semester 1 plus semester 2 plus semester 3 plus semester 4. So credit will be minimum 80. Hours will be minimum 2,400. And if the student wants to go out of the system after second year, after getting 4 credit skilling or internship, for lasting for minimum 2 months, the student will be given diploma. If the student does not opt, enters into third year, that third year we will call it as level 5.5. And after completion of third year, that is 3 years, 6 semester. So 40 plus 40 plus 40, 120 minimum credit, the student will go out with 3 years degree. If the student opt to go for 4-year undergraduate program or first year of master's program, then we will say that the student has attained level of 6. So credit will be 160 credit, and learning hours will be 3,612 into 4, because it is 4th year. So 4,800 hours learning hours, which will make him to earn 160 credits, and 4 years undergraduate degree program or 1 year of the postgraduate program. That is, it will help him to get postgraduate diploma program. That is 1 year after 3 years degree program. So like that, up to 8 will be the doctoral degree. So this is NHEQF, National Higher Education Qualification Framework, level-wise classifications of learning. We know that learning will be level-wise. It will depend upon the complexity in all three domains and learning hours and earning credits. Now, what are those descriptors for each level? There will be clear-cut learning outcomes of that level will be very clearly mentioned. And for those learning hours, there will be the statement known as qualification descriptor for that level. So this higher education qualification leading to certificate, diploma or degree will be described in terms of learning outcome. Let it be NSQF or NHEQF. So description of learning outcomes is known as qualification descriptor. So each level, which is structured based on certain well-defined learning outcome, they will be having statements of what learner is expected to know, understand, will be able to do on successful completion of approved program of study or learning at that level. Certificate level, diploma level, very clear statement will be there what is expected out from that student. And the student should be able to demonstrate those attributes defined in terms of expected learning outcomes, whether acquired through any mode of learning, direct, in-person, face-to-face, open, distance, online, hybrid, blended, mode is not important. Attainments of attributes and demonstrating the learning outcome, that is important in case of this framework. Obviously, these learning outcome descriptors will be in all three domains. We have understood what does education means. So in all three domains, the statement will be given known as descriptor. Now these descriptors, whether it is of NSQF or NHEQF, are made up of 5 outcome statements. Now these 5 outcome statements are based on 3 domains, which are based in general terms the minimum knowledge, minimum skills, and minimum attributes that a learner needs to acquire. See, learning outcome are expected learning. So they have to be very clearly made known to the learner before he joins the program. That in this program, this is what is expected. And if you demonstrate attainment of these 5 attributes, then only qualification will be given. So this is what is the fundamental step of this descriptor. Now each level of this NSQF or NHQF is described by the statement of learning outcome in 5 domains known as level descriptors. These 5 domains are a process, professional knowledge, professional skill, core skills such as aptitude, mindset, soft skills, employability, readiness, and entrepreneurship skill. And 5th one is responsibility, which the candidate is demonstrate that the candidate is able to shoulder this level of responsibility. It should be demonstrated, then only certification will be issued. We are preparing student future ready. So we should know what the candidate is expected to do after passing out from our institution. And whatever the candidate is expected to do as a job role, that has to be ensured in institution before issuing the certificate. This is the core spirit of NHEQF. So what are these descriptors? So they will be representing the increasing levels of complexity in terms of knowledge, competency, and autonomy that must be demonstrated by the learner. First is process. First attribute is process. It is the general summary of all other 4 domains corresponding to that particular level. So important is now professional knowledge. So very clear statement. So obviously it is from cognitive domain, that is knowledge and understanding domain. We know the 6 stages of those domains, from memorizing to synthesis. So depending upon the level, we have to mention the statement. What is that? It is what a learner should know and understand with reference to the subject or field of his knowledge. It is academic domain. So it is described in terms of depth, breadth, kinds of knowledge and their complexity. Depth of knowledge can be general or specialized. Breadth of knowledge can range from single topic to the multidisciplinary area of knowledge. Kind of knowledge can range from concrete to abstract, cross-segmented to cumulative, and complexity of knowledge refers to combination of kind, depth, and breadth of knowledge. So this has to be very clearly specified. We will take the example also for each. Next is the professional skills. So clear statement should be there what a learner should be able to do after completing this level or the program. So it is naturally it comes from psychomotor or skill domain. So cognitive or creative skills involving the use of intuitive, logical and critical thinking. Communication skills involving written, oral, literacy and numeracy skills. Interpersonal skills and generic skills that a learner should possess to perform a task or job competently, productively, and independently, and also part of a team. Fourth one is the core skills. That is the basic skills involving dexterity and use of methods, material, tools, instruments used for performing the job, including information technology skills needed for a given level of study and work. And fifth one, descriptor, is the responsibility that the learner can be entrusted with on their own. That is from affective domain. What is that? The statement will tell the degree of supervision that a person needs when doing a job, the degree of supervision a person is capable of exercising over others, that is the level at which the learner can supervise when in his job role. So it determines nature of working relationship, level of responsibility for self and others, managing the change, and accountability of action. So these 5 domains, and on these attributes, the statement is to be done. Say, for example, at the end of first year, what we call it as NSQF level or NHEQF level 4.5, or what we call it as certificate level. That after 12th, after completion of first year, that is after successfully completing 2 semesters, or after completing 1200 learning hours, or after earning 40 minimum credits plus 4 credits from skill courses or internship. What is expected from before you give him the certificate? In cognitive domain, knowledge of facts, principles, processes, concepts in the field of work or study. In case of practical skills, required to complete the task assigned and solve the problem by selecting and applying basic methods, basic tools, material and information. In core skills, mathematical skills if applicable, collecting, organizing the information and communication. Work at the level of 4.5, that is certificate level, first year level, will be carried out in a familiar situations. Also, ones where problems may arise, job holders will be able to make choices about the best procedures to adopt to address the problem where the choices are clear. Job holders will be responsible for the completion of their own work and expected to learn and improve their performance on the job. So learning ability should be tested. They will require well-developed practical and cognitive skills to complete their work. They may also have some responsibility for others' work and learning. People carrying out such type of job will come under fully skilled workers or supervisor. So certificate level, level 4.5 will be expected. So when in the college, our syllabus, our curriculum, our assessment, our examination should clearly ensure attainment of these attributes. And we should be able to demonstrate that students have attained these outcomes. That is why we are giving him the certificate or the 40 credits which are allotted after 1200 learning of hours. The competent authority, that is college and university, will ensure attainment of these attributes for first year. What does it mean to us? Our syllabus, our course objectives, learning COs, LCOs, learning objectives, our assessment, our question paper, our practicals should be designed and implemented to prove that those who have passed, they have passed because they have shown attainment of these attributes. So our first year question paper will be different than our second year question paper. It will be different than our third year question paper. Our way the practicals are conducted will be different. The way assignments are conducted. The syllabus content of first year will be of certificate level with this expectation and course outcome. And for final year, it will be altogether different. Say, for example, the student comes to second year. So we will say that he has entered NHEQF or NSQF level 5, that is diploma level. So what is expected at this level? What are the statement, descriptive statement, qualification descriptor is factual and theoretical knowledge in broad context now. Cognitive and practical skills needed to find solutions. Earlier, the skill was he should, whatever is told, he should be able to do repeatedly same job effectively, efficiently was expected in first year. But now in second year, with that skill, efficiency, higher level, he should be able to find now solution, critical thinker, solution provider to the specific problem in the field of study. Mathematical calculations, logical communication, specialized technical skills, clarity of knowledge, and awareness about standard and non-standard practices. This is what will be expected from level 5, that is diploma. This, our student, they will be, when they will be employed, they will be able, should be able to carry out their jobs. They should be able to communicate clearly in speech and writing, and they may be required to apply mathematical processes in their jobs. They should also be able to collect and organize information to communicate about work. They should be able to solve problems by selecting and applying methods, tools, material, information. In first year, the material was given to them, tool was given to them, method was given to them. They were expected skillfully doing the job. Here, in second year, they will not need not necessarily be given everything. They will have to select. We are making them competent to select method, to select tool, to select material, and properly select information and apply to solve a given problem. They will be expected to have previous knowledge and skills in the occupation because they are above certificate level now, and to know and apply fact, principle, processes, and general concepts in the occupation. These are the descriptors, statement for our second year. They will be expected to understand what constitutes quality in the occupation, will distinguish between good and bad quality in the context of their work. They will be expected to operate hygienically. See, cyber hygiene is very important, as well as understanding of environmental issues. They will take account of health and safety issues that affect the work they carry out or supervise. In working with others, they will be expected to conduct themselves in a way which show an understanding of social, political environment, values, and ethics. So this is what will be expected from after passing the second year or diploma level or level 5. Now they have entered into third year, what we call conventionally as. Or now as per NHEQF, they are now entered into level 5.5, that is 3 years degree program. What is expected? What are the general statements and for their attribute is now the command and proficiency. A broad range. See, the word has completely changed. Earlier, they were expected to have well skilled, then selection choices, and now it is expected they should have command and proficiency on theoretical as well as practical skills, as well as routine and non-routine concept, factual and theoretical knowledge, wide range of cognitive and practical skills required to find solutions, and logical mathematical skills, presentation skills. Then they will be required to use both standard and non-standard practices. These job holders at level, degree level, will carry out a broad range of work which will require wide range of specialized technical skills backed by factual and theoretical knowledge. They will be responsible for completion of their own work as well as expected to learn and improve their performance on the job. They are likely to have full responsibility of other works also. Now they are supervisor, managers because they are graduate. So those people of level 5.5 are generally will be called as master technicians, trainers, or managers. So senior positions they will be given in we can know in as per NSQF or sector skill councils job roles. So they will be employed to carry out job roles which will be expected to communicate clearly in speech, writing, in IT skills also, mathematical calculation. They should be able to collect data, organize information, communicate logical. They should be able to solve problems by selecting and applying methods, tools, material, information, and they are expected to have broad factual theoretical knowledge for applying practice within occupation with a range of practical and cognitive skill, and they should be able to generate the solutions. So generation of knowledge is expected. They will be expected to communicate clearly. So this is what are expected in various levels from level 4.5 to level 5, from level 5 to 5.5. I have taken only 3 years undergraduate program. Similar attribute statement or qualification descriptors are given even for level 6, level 6.5, level 7, level 8, that is from first year to doctorate level, certificate, diploma, degree, 4 years degree, postgraduate diploma, postgraduate, for each level, for each qualification, for each award of certification, the statements, qualification descriptors are very clearly given in National Higher Education Qualification Framework, and those are the guidelines for preparing our syllabi, for delivering our syllabi, for assessing the student, for examining the student, and mapping our course outcome, learning outcome with the attainment. So this journey is in this fashion in National Credit Framework as well as in Higher Qualification Framework. Now to summarize, if I take only one domain, for each level you will find in NHEQF, if I take only knowledge and understanding level, as you move from level 4.5, that is certificate to diploma and diploma to degree, you will find the demonstration of acquisition of knowledge go on changing, complexity changes, relationship changes. It is lower at level 4.5, higher at level 5.5, highest at level 8. But these are the guiding points for us to frame the academic part of syllabus of first year, or academic part of syllabus in second year, or academic part of syllabus of third year. These are the guiding points, directions for framing the syllabus, for delivering the syllabus, for setting the course outcome, for examining and mapping the outcomes. So this is for one domain, knowledge domain. This is for skilling domain. As we move from level 4.5 to 5.5, expectation of application of knowledge and skill also goes on more complex and more higher. Skills required to perform and accomplish the task moves from level 4.5 5 to 5.5, that is certificate, diploma, degree. It goes on changing. Now this should be reflected in our syllabus. So when our board of studies, it is very important to understand the, you can say, guiding principle of NHEQF in framing the syllabus also. Now, these are the expected outcomes regarding employment ready skills and entrepreneurship skills and mindset from level certificate, diploma, and degree. Last domain, for affected domain also, we have taken in one chart constitutional, humanities, ethical, and moral values, values and dispositions. What are expected from level 4.5, that is certificate level, to level 5.5, that is bachelor's degree level. Now, same is available for level 6, 6.5 also, but for proximity and just for understanding, we have taken 3 years undergraduate program. Now, this is applicable to any faculty. It is applicable for humanities, it is applicable for science technology, it is applicable for commerce management, it is applicable for interdisciplinary studies. So irrespective of faculty, irrespective of the program, irrespective of the course, irrespective of the location, whether I am located in Amravati University, Madras University, or Delhi University, or Kashmir University, this framework will be common and this will be the guiding principle for equivalency. Accordingly, you will find verticals of UG curriculum. Now you will understand those 7 verticals are based on whatever we have talked. Choice of major, minor. So deep studies in one, relatively less length and breadth in other. So this is major and minor. From traditional knowledge to modern creating of new knowledge, from IKS to innovation, incubation, invention, and generation of new knowledge. That is why IKS is there. Experiential learning, most important component. So you will find internship, field-based learning, field-based practices, social, third domain, community engagement, service, skill enhancement. So you will find skill courses and vocational courses as integral part of our curriculum. So these verticals of curriculum you will understand once we have understood what is education in terms of NEP, what are domains, what are levels, what is credit framework, what is a qualification framework, and according to that verticals, and then your schemes have to be designed, and finally all education system will be oriented towards outcome based education. Accountability is the, you can say, the pillar which is outcome based education, and outcome based education in terms of qualification descriptors, in terms of expected learning outcomes, in terms of expected program outcomes. That is why graduate attributes or program outcomes, it is generally given by UGC, NAC, or regularity authority, because they are already aligned with international standard. They are already aligned with Washington Accord requirement. That is why graduate attributes or program outcomes, generally we need not have to define. They are already defined at national level and given to all universities and all institutions in India. They are aligned with international level. Then we design program educational objective, program specific objective, course outcome, course learning outcome. Now this will depend upon year, that is whether it is first year, that is level 4.5 or 5 or 5.5, and those will be correlated with the descriptors which we have just now discussed on 5 different you can say domain, right from process, professional knowledge, professional skill, core skill, level of responsibility, what is expected from each level. According to that, if the course level is 5, its course outcome will be different than course level of 4.5 or course level of 5.5. According to that, complete our from framing of syllabi to, you can say, a delivery of syllabi, assessment and examination of learner has to be done. Everything will be under one comprehensive national framework. So 3 frameworks are guiding for each of us. One will be credit framework, other will be qualification framework, and third will be learning outcome based curriculum framework. So this curriculum, LOCF, what is commonly called as, is based on outcome-based education, qualification descriptors, and credit-based mechanism. According to that, everybody has to prepare LOCF for each university or if autonomous for each institution. But again, I repeat, all of us will be working under common framework. Where I am located, rural, urban, one state, another state will not matter henceforth. Common framework, common equivalency, common credit. Everybody's credit will go to academic credit bank, and from there, the certifications will be allotted depending upon the level and credit earned. Tomorrow, we may have an education system wherein a student who has passed 10, crossed compulsory education up to age of 14, may enter into higher education on the basis of his experience, on the basis of informal learning, on the basis of open-based learning. Only he has to establish his level and go to the next level for learning. So a lot of reforms are coming. For us, what is important is that we should understand domains of learning. What do we mean by education now? Each domain, we have to give equal weightage in framing our syllabus, and we should understand higher education means level out of level 1 to 8. Our beginning level is 4.5. So our syllabi should not be below 4.5 in any case. Otherwise, tomorrow when equivalency will come, problem should not come with one institute with other. Ensure that our every semester is of minimum 600 learning hours, having all the 3 domains, and syllabi is level based, clear-cut descriptors, learning outcomes are mentioned, and our assessment examination ensures that students have demonstrated the attainment of course expected core outcome. That we should be able to establish when it comes to any auditing, and then equivalency or credits will be generalized throughout India, and they are aligned with world. So 1 degree from one institute will be considered as equivalent to any institute of the world through this process. So I think we have covered what we were expected, and a few minutes we should keep for our question answer. So with your all permissions of all learned participants, I sincerely express my thanks for your patience hearing. I fully understand how difficult it is to listen monologue for 3 hours. But since our system provides the session of 3 hours, you and me cannot do. And I tried to make it as simple as possible to my extent. I express sincere thanks to my friend Ankit because he ensures that technically nothing comes as a disturbance. My thanks to Dr. Atik sir, who considers me fit enough to exchange with learned audience like today what we are having. I am thankful to Pro Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, our Madan Mohan Alvia Teachers Training Center, and you people, my friends, whom beared me for last almost 3 hours. So if any question, I think we will keep our session open for question answer, if any. Otherwise, with your permission, I think my deliberation I should stop. Is it okay, friends?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Participants, the forum is open for discussion or the question answer. If anyone has any queries or the question, they can directly ask to Professor Marathe, sir. Please, anyone.
Marathe sir, I have one question. There is the IKS OE. Can it consider the workload NSS and NCC also?
Theoretically, answer is yes. Whatever credits are to be earned by the student, teacher's role is definitely there. Without teachers, things cannot go. I am very sure. So whatever verticals are given, whatever 120 credit, 144 credit subjects are given, I think that workload will be accounted for. Maybe for say internship, the workload amount they may change because it is mainly the students, it is in self-learning mode. So we have to understand what is there in self-learning mode and what is where more facilitation is given by the teacher. Wherever facilitation teaching is given, in my opinion, it will get counted.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, anyone? Any other questions or the queries, please?
Ankit, I hope our slides will be available to the.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. I will. What
Even
can I do,
share
sir?
my
I will
phone
share
number
with all the
and
participants.
email also to them. Later
Yes.
on also, if they want, I am free. I will be able to answer.
Yeah, sir. Definitely, I will share it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Participants, is there any queries or the questions? If there are no more queries, then we will sum up this session.
Please, sir.
Sir.
Sir, I think there is no more queries or the questions. So, if you could permit, shall we conclude, sir?
Please, Ankit, please.
Yeah. So, on behalf of the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center and Garge Baba Amravati University, I express my heartfelt gratitude towards Professor Anant Marathe sir for being with us, enlighten us on such a huge topic and a very simplest way, sir. This is very complex topics, and but you have explained this topic in a very simplest way. It is, as you have told that it is not possible within the 3 hours to within 3 hours to understand these complex topics like as the NSQF, NHEQF and its alignments with the credits. But really, sir, you have provided such kind of deepest information in the form of this presentation during this session, and you have answered all the questions or the queries whatever may be the rises during the sessions. So on behalf of MMTTC Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, I once again express my sincere thanks to you. In spite of your busy schedule, you have shared your precious time here and you are always mentor to us. I am also thankful to all the participants for their patience listening and active participation during this session. And with the kind consent of Professor Marathe sir, I would like to declare that this session will be over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone. We will meet tomorrow with our tomorrow schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I will leave now.